Before I explain anything, just take a second to look at this tweet. What do you think is going on here? You might immediately think, whoa, that sounds racist. Why would someone post that publicly? This was a post from 2013. At the time Justin Sacco posted this, she only had about 170 followers. So this was likely meant for a very small audience, probably just her friends. She later explained that she was trying to make a sarcastic joke about Western privilege and assumed people know I'm being sarcastic. But that's not what actually happened. This tweet spread far beyond its original audience to people who didn't know her and didn't share the same assumptions. So instead of seeing it as sarcasm, many people saw it as offensive and harmful. And honestly, if you didn't know her, you might interpret it that way too. The message didn't change, but the audience did. And once the audience changed, the meaning changed too. And that's what context collapse is. And today, I'm going to show you how context collapse works and why it explains so much online conflict. Context collapse happens when a message meant for one audience ends up being seen by many different audiences at the same time. And those audiences don't share the same background, tone, expectations, or relationship with the speaker. So they interpret the message differently. To understand this, we first need to understand something called an imagined audience. Whenever we communicate, we imagine who we are talking to. For example, you probably talk differently to your friends than to your professor. You might use slang, jokes, sarcasm, or inside references with friends, because you expect them to understand you. But you would probably explain yourself more carefully in a formal setting. And when people post online, they usually think, my followers will probably get this. But online, your imagined audience is often not your actual audience. In real life, context is much clearer, as people can hear your tone, see your facial expression, and ask follow-up questions if they are confused. If someone misunderstands you, you can immediately say, wait, that's not what I meant. But online, most of that just disappears. People cannot easily figure out your actual tone, your intention, your personality, or your relationship to the topic. So a sarcastic sentence and a serious sentence can look exactly the same on a screen. Social media algorithms reward engagement, emotional reactions, and conflicts, which, as you see, platform makes this concept even worse. If a post makes people angry, confused, or excited, they're more likely to comment and to share or argue. That tells the platform the post is engaging, so the platform just pushes it to even more people. As a result, posts often travel far beyond their original audience, especially if they are controversial or emotional. And that increases the chance that people misunderstand the post, react strongly, and just start arguing. This is exactly what happened to Elle Hunt, who experienced a situation similar to Justin Sacco's. So she was having a casual argument with friends about film genres. Then she tweeted online that horror movies cannot be set in space. Her imagined audience was probably just her friends and followers, but then the post went viral. Suddenly, thousands of people responded aggressively. Now, her audience included those hardcore sci-fi fans, strangers who didn't know her, and people who took the topic very seriously. What started as a casual conversation became a massive online argument simply because the audience changed. This leads to another important idea underpinning context collapse, which is the intent impact gap. It means what you intended to say does not always match how other people experience it. When people see something without context, they just fill in the missing information themselves. So they might assume a joke is serious and took the sarcasm as literal. Even if your intent is harmless, the impact can still feel offensive or harmful to others. Just like how Elle Hunt later described, the volume of replies are very overwhelming. But many people replying probably didn't think they were harassing her. They may have thought they were just joining a fun debate, defending a movie they loved, or making a clever comment. And each person may have felt like their response was small, but thousands of small responses together can feel like an attack. So from the poster's perspective, that feels like an attack, but context collapse is not always the same thing as cancel culture. Cancel culture usually involves people intentionally trying to punish someone, damage their reputation, or just remove them from the platform. But in many cases of context collapse, there's no clear coordination and no shared goal. It's just thousands of people reacting at the same time based on their own interpretation. And that's what makes context collapse so powerful. It's individual reactions plus platform amplification that lead to massive impact. So, what can we do about it? If the problem is partly structural, then solutions should not only focus on individuals being nicer. We also need better platform designs that have less aggressive algorithm and more tools to help preserve context. For example, Instagram's close friends feature can help reduce context collapse because users can choose exactly who sees the post. Then that keeps the message closer to its intended audience and makes misunderstanding less likely. So, why does this all matter? Because it changes how we understand online conflict. Instead of simply thinking, oh, people online are just mean, we should understand that the online environment itself creates misunderstanding. So, next time you see a viral post and everyone arguing in the comments, just pause for a second. Ask yourself, who was this originally meant for? Am I seeing the full context? Are people intentionally attacking someone or just reacting based on different interpretations? Because context matters, and it matters even more online.